What's going on? The craziest thing I'll ever do.
And honestly, maybe just downright stupid. And what's crazy...
Here we go.
I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm not okay. Over the past years, I've done a lot of things that most people would look at as being ridiculous, insane, and honestly, maybe just downright stupid. And what's crazy is that as Brave Wilderness heads into its 10th year, I think your minds are all going to be blown when you see how far I'm truly willing to go. Now, before we introduce you, or I should say reveal to you, my current living nightmare, I want to talk about the most frequent questions that I get asked. I'm sure you can imagine what they are. Coyote, what's the most painful sting? What's the most painful bite? I mean, every day. I could be at the gas station, I could be at the grocery store. If people get 30 seconds of my time, that's the first thing that they go to. And I love answering that question, don't get me wrong. But the way that I've looked at it over the past few years has been, what's the most painful experience? And there are three of them at this point. Three of my most painful experiences are without question something that nobody should ever have to go through. And make no mistake, the pain from something like an executioner wasp is really bad. Giant hornet, exceptionally bad. Pull it in, still really bad, but I've gone through way worse since then.
Stinger stuck in my arm, look at that!
And the most painful experience in the sting world that I've gone through at this point is the Yellow Jacket box. This seemed like it was a good idea, and it was my idea. Let's put those bugs in a box. And I didn't think that I was gonna get stung that many times. Honestly, I thought I might get stung once or twice. And what's funny is that my hand was in that box for a total of 3 seconds when I was like, whoa, that's far enough. I give up. This is really painful.
Okay, my hand's gotta come out. Hand's gotta come out. You guys are gonna have to run because these things are gonna be swarming
here,
around.
let's put the door back in.
Okay, the door. Help.
Got it? Here.
Unfortunately, my hand got stuck in the box due to a small design flaw, and my hand ended up being in there for 10 seconds. So I took about 100 stings in this amount of time and a massive yield of venom. Because I wasn't just getting stung. Like, the Yellow Jackets were landing on my hands and arm. They were latching on, inserting their stingers, and just pumping venom. So it's not like, boom, you got stung and I flew away. It was just pump after pump, and it was freaking bad. I mean, like, the worst. So as I ran away from the box, because the hornets were all around us, it was probably the most panicked I've ever been. Probably most panicked since I had the bee-beard situation that went wrong, because I was like, man, like, there's a lot of venom. If anaphylactic shock is going to take over, this is going to be that moment. And I know you'd love to see me get, you know,
I was wondering where he went to.
At this point. Fortunately, about 15
But I
minutes
knew
after
it was
the fact,
something like
when I was
this,
just
though.
in excruciating pain, I was like, all right, good. No allergic reaction, but holy bejesus, my arm is getting big. I mean, like, comically big. It looked like the hot dog that you put in the boiling water and then on the grill, and you're like, this thing's gonna
Almost
explode.
hot dogs.
And like,
I'm
my
so hungry,
tendons
bro.
and bones are gonna spill out all over the place. And I was like, all right,
So
well, cool.
broke.
Like, you know, an hour in, the pain's bad, but it's getting worse. And it got worse and worse and worse. And it is the worst, most painful experience I've ever been through. 36 hours of excruciating pain. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't sit still, I couldn't even shower. In fact, if water touched my skin, the nerves were so sensitive that any temperature water would send me to an immediate searing pain. So when I look back on that situation, people say, Coyote, what's the most painful sting? The most painful sting pain experience was without question the Yellow Jacket box. And what's worse than the Yellow Jacket box? Just wait. You're gonna see. It's coming. Stay tuned. Before we get to my second most painful experience, first I just want to say thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video.
Come on, bro.
It's a new year, which means it's the perfect time for mental reset.
Are you getting stung by
During
anything
this
or
period
just
of year,
talking?
I work a ton, and whether I'm filming videos or launching conservation
he's just
initiatives,
talking.
my brain is pushed to the max, and that's why therapy is so important. Stress may off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. Again, that's betterhelp.com/coyote. I love happy accidents, especially when they come in the form of plants, I guess. So my second most painful experience, which is a newer one for me to talk about because it's not technically a bite and it's not technically a sting, it's actually a nettling. We were in Australia this past year and I discovered something called the gimpy gimpy. And lo and behold, the gimpy gimpy, which is the most painful venomous plant nettling in the world, was also in the Cape York Peninsula. So we traveled up there and then I proceeded to find and place this leaf on my skin. Now, I knew what I was getting myself into. I could read articles on how painful the venom from this plant was and how other people had been nettled by it before and had ended up in the hospital. And for all fairness, these are people that fell into one of these plants and had it on their face and their necks and their whole body. I was like, all right, cool, just a little bit on the arm should be fine. It was not fine. It was not fine at all. In fact, the nettles, once those trichome tips broke off, immediately began searing my skin from the venom that went beneath the surface. And I don't remember a whole lot after because the pain was so intense. I remember trying to get the nettles out with those wax strips and it really didn't do much good. I mean, I was up that entire night, like sweating, and my arm was swelling, and I was like, oh my gosh. Some people say that this pain lasts for months. Now, for me, I didn't take as many nettles as somebody that would fall into a plant, and the pain did last for a solid 24 hours, but what I didn't anticipate was the nerve damage. This arm was messed up for 6 months after the fact. I would just have these flare-ups of burning and my arm would turn red and it would be like, whoa, that came out of nowhere, and then it would itch, and then it would hurt, and then it would itch. And I think eventually either my body absorbed the nettles and the venom that were still in there, or eventually my skin pushed them out. But I kid you not, for 6 straight months, I dealt with unbelievable discomfort that I call nerve damage in my left arm from the gimpy gimpy. And when you think about a plant as being something that's that toxic, that's capable of putting a human through that much pain, and the number of people after the fact that came up to me and said, Coyote, like, dude, what's up with, like, you gonna start experimenting with plants? I'm like, well, we already kind of hit the peak of the mountain with the gimpy gimpy, but we are gonna go find the other ones that are out there and maybe create a plant nettle pain index. I mean, it is a possible thing, I guess. But when people say, Coyote, what is your second most painful experience? The gimpy gimpy takes the prize on that one, but I can promise you this much. The gimpy gimpy is going to be nothing as compared to what it is that we're about to reveal.
Cleveland in January. It is cold. All right, we've made it to Scales and Tails. I'm gonna head inside, and we're going to meet the mystery animal that lives here that is going to be our first candidate for the extreme bites experiment.
Oh, God.
I'm a little nervous.
Painful stings, painful plants. What's left? Painful bites. This next one was also my idea, and this was me facing fear because the giant desert centipede is truly something that has given me the EBGBs since I was a little kid. I remember the first time I ever saw a giant desert centipede in Arizona, and I knew immediately this was not something to tangle with. So when we conceptualized getting bitten by one of these intentionally, I was given a number of warnings from people that live out in the Southwest that said, this is bad. You don't want to do this. Like, it makes grown men cry. And I'm like, oh, Coyote Peterson doesn't cry. Some people think I cried in that video. I didn't. My eyes were just watering because I was in like, so much pain.
Not his tears.
Cut the cameras, cut the cameras. We gotta get the venom extracted. We gotta get some of the venom on my arm.
And
they're just standing there.
That we also learned in the process of making that video, we thought, well, venom extractors are a neat thing. This could be an opportunity to show how a venom extractor works. And in all fairness, kind of got roasted by a number of different medical experts and the audience after releasing that episode because, as it turns out, venom extractors are a terrible idea. So I didn't know that at the time. We learned that through the audience. Thank you guys. And I actually wonder if that didn't make the situation worse for me. But in the 24 hours after the giant desert centipede bite, I went through a level of pain that can only be explained as somebody get me a saw, because it would be better to cut my arm off than it would be to go through whatever this is. And the venom of the centipedes was actually attacking my blood cells and exploding them from the inside out. So just try to imagine that, like inside your arm, this reaction is happening and the arm is swelling and swelling and swelling. And similar to the angry yellow jacket box, I was like, man, like, is a human arm like capable of popping open? This is actually the only time that I received medical attention for a bite. Now, we didn't film any of that, but I did go to the doctor and I had to get an anti-swelling and an anti-pain thing that night because the pain was so excruciating. I was actually really nervous for where it was headed. Fortunately, I did recover from the situation. It turned into this huge welt. It was itchy for weeks, and I lived to be bitten another day. Now, that episode certainly garnered a lot of attention and excitement from you guys. And I said after that centipede bite that I would never, Coyote Peterson would never get bitten by a centipede again. Giant desert centipede or any type of centipede. In fact, I avoid centipedes every chance that I get.
Until today.
Until now? This is our idea.
He's gonna get bitten again.
That is a really big centipede.
Peruvian
probably saying
giant
to
white
yourself,
leg
"There's
centipede.
No way this guy's gonna get bitten by that animal." Yeah, yes, I definitely am. And here's what's different. You guys are used to seeing me take bites and stings in a produced, edited setting. We're trying something new. We're gonna do this bite as a live stream on YouTube. So for the first time ever, you guys will see Coyote Peterson raw, uncut, behind the scenes, exactly how these things go down. I have no idea what's gonna happen, what sort of pain I'm going to be going through, but we are going to give you a front row seat for this experience. So why in the world would I be doing something like this? Is it for the views? Is it for money? Is it for fame and notoriety? None of that. This is for conservation. Over the past 10 years, we have worked to build Brave Wilderness up to be a microphone for the world of animals. And to us, conservation is first and foremost extremely important. A couple of years ago, we launched an initiative called Save the Horns, and I'm excited to announce that we just had 22 critically endangered black rhinos delivered to 2 reserves that we are supporting in South Africa. It's a huge win, right? But it doesn't stop with just the delivery of the rhinos. We need continued support. So these live streams are going to act as fundraisers to not only support Save the Horns, but other conservation initiatives down the road. And other conservation initiatives means there's going to be more than one extreme experiment live stream. So get ready. I promise the entertainment coming in 2024 is going to be unlike anything we have ever done on Brave Wilderness. But it starts in April. That's going to be the first one. So stay tuned to our social media feeds. We'll give you all the details that you need to know. And you're going to get to see Coyote Peterson go arm to mandibles with the largest centipede species on the face of the planet. It's going to be extreme, it's going to be painful, it's going to be educational, and it's going to do great things for the world of conservation. And I promise that 2024 is going to be one of the wildest years in Brave Wilderness history.
Don't
I'm Coyote
die.
Peterson. Be brave.
I hope you don't
Stay
die.
wild. We'll see you on the live streams.
Yeah, he finna die.